Week 1 Day 1. Eminent, a high reputation, outstanding sense. The eminent author received the Nobel Prize for Literature. Sense, eminence, respect. Noun. The state of being famous, respected or important, His Eminence as a film director. Eminent. Adjective. Famous, respected or important, an eminent historian. Sense, preeminent. Adjective. Formal. More important or better than others, she is the preeminent authority in her subject. Preeminence. Noun. Formal. His preeminence in a subject is internationally recognized. Replete, completely filled or supplies with. Sense, the football game was replete with excitement and great plays. Sense, replete. Adjective after verb. Formal. 1 full, especially with food. After 2 helpings of dessert, Sergio was at last replete. 2 well supplied, this car has an engine replete with the latest technology. Indiscriminate, choosing at random without careful selection. Sense, modern warfare often results in the indiscriminate killing of combatants and innocent civilians alike. Sense, indiscriminate. Adjective. Not showing careful thought or planning, especially so that harm results, an indiscriminate terrorist attack on civilians. The indiscriminate use of fertilizers can cause long-term problems. Indiscriminately. Adverb. They fired indiscriminately into the crowd. Voracious, desiring or consuming great quantities. Sense, after skiing, I find that I have a voracious appetite. Sense, voracious. Adjective. Very eager for something, especially a lot of food, he has a voracious appetite. He eats a lot. He's a voracious reader of historical novels. He reads a lot of them eagerly and quickly. Voraciously. Adverb. Voraciousness. Noun. Steep, soaked, drenched, saturated. Sense, my cousin is so steeped in schoolwork that his friends call him a bookworm. Sense, steep. Adjective. One of a slope rising or falling at a sharp angle, a steep slope. It's a steep climb to the top of the mountain, but the view is worth it. The castle is set on a steep hillside. 2 A steep rise or fall is one which goes very quickly from low to high or from high to low. There has been a steep rise in prices. Steepen. Verb. 1 To become steeper, or to make something do this. The trail began to steepen near the top of the hill. 2 If something such as a cost steepens, it increases. Our costs have steepened since we began this project. Steeply. Adverb. The beach slopes steeply down to the sea. The value of the land has risen steeply. Steepness. Noun. Sense, steep, too much. Adjective. Especially of prices too much, or more than is reasonable, they are having to face very steep taxes. We enjoyed our meal at the restaurant, but the bill was a bit steep. The membership fees at the golf club are pretty steep. Sense, steep, make wet. Verb. To cause, to stay in a liquid, especially in order to become soft or clean or to improve flavor. Leave the cloth to steep in the dye overnight. We had pears steeped in red wine for dessert. To eat humble pie. To admit your error, and apologize. Sense, after his candidate had lost the election, the boastful campaign manager had to eat humble pie. Reading wisely. The youngster who reads voraciously, though indiscriminately, does not necessarily gain in wisdom over the teenager, who is more selective in his reading choices. A young man who has read the life story of every eminent athlete of the 20th century, or a co-ed box-girl mixed school who has steeped herself in every social protest novel she can get her hands on, may very well be learning all there is to know in a very limited area. But books are replete with so many wonders, that it is often discouraging to see bright young people limit their own experiences. Week 1 Day 2. Matron, an older married woman. Sense, a clever salesman will always ask a matron if her mother is at home. Sense, matron's school. Noun. UK old-fashioned. A female nurse in a school. Sense, matron, hospital. Noun. UK old-fashioned for senior nursing officer. Sense, matron, prison. Noun. A woman who is in charge of female prisoners. Sense, matron, married woman. Noun. A married woman, especially one who is old, or a widow, a woman whose husband has died. Sense, senior nursing officer. UK noun. As head nurse, UK old-fashioned matron, the person in charge of all the nurses in a hospital technology branch of knowledge dealing with engineering, applied science, etc. Since man may be freed from back-breaking labor by the products of scientific technology. Sense technology. Noun. The study and knowledge of the practical, especially industrial, use of scientific discoveries, computer technology. Modern technology is amazing, isn't it? What this country needs is a long-term policy for investment in science and technology. See also biotechnology. Technological. Adjective. Technological advances in computing and telecommunications will reduce the need for many people to travel to work. Technologically adverb. Technologist. Noun. Someone who works with a particular technology. Automaton, a robot, a mechanical person. Since the time is approaching when human workers may be replaced by automaton. Since automaton. Noun. Plural automatons or automata. A machine, which operates on its own without the need for human control, or a person, who acts like a machine, without thinking or feeling. I do the same route to work every day, like some sort of automaton. Abound, to exist in great numbers. Since the western plains used to abound with bison, before those animals were slaughtered by settlers. Abound. Verb. Theories abound about how the earth began. Phrasal verb plus with or in. The coasts here abounds with in rare plants. Procrastinate, to predict or foretell a future event. Since the mayor refused to procrastinate as to his margin of victory in the election. Since procrastinate. Verb. To keep delaying something that must be done, often because it is unpleasant or boring. I know I've got to deal with the problem at some point, I'm just procrastinating. Procrastination. Noun. A pig in a poke, an item you purchase without having seen. A disappointment. Since the mail-order bicycle that my nephew bought turned out to be a pig in a poke, and he is now trying to get his money back. Solving the servant problem. The worlds of science fiction abound with wonders. Yet modern technology progresses so rapidly that what may be today's wild dream may be next year's kitchen appliance. A British scientist has prognosticated that within 10 years every suburban matron will have her own robot servant. One task this domesticated automaton will not have to contend with will be scouring superscript to the oven, because even today the newest ranges can be programmed to reduce their own baked-on grime sense to easily disposed of ashes. Week 1 Day 3. Tinge, a trace, smattering, or slight degree. Sense a tinge of garlic is all that's necessary in most recipes. Sense tinge. Noun. A very slight amount of a color or of a feeling. His hair is starting to show tinges of gray. I have a tinge of regret that I didn't accept her offer. Tinge. Verb. To contain a slight amount of. Her joy at the birth of her son was tinged with sadness that her father had not lived to see him. Tinged. Adjective. Her dark hair is now tinged with gray. Paradox, a statement that at first seems to be absurd or self-contradictory, but which may in fact turn out to be true. Since one of the great paradoxes of American life is that though minority groups have suffered injustices, nowhere in the world have so many varied groups lived together so harmoniously. Sense paradox. Noun. A situation or statement which seems impossible or is difficult to understand, because it contains two opposite facts or characteristics, plus that it's a curious paradox, that drinking a lot of water can often make you feel thirsty. Paradoxical. Adjective. It seems paradoxical to me, but if you drink a cup of hot tea it seems to cool you down. Paradoxically. Adverb. Compound, to increase or add to. Sense his gloom was now compounded by the failing mark on his geometry test. Sense compound combination. Noun. 1. A chemical that combines two or more elements. Salt is a compound of sodium and chlorine. Many fertilizers contain nitrogen compounds. 2. Formal, something consisting of two or more different parts. Then there was his manner, a curious compound of humor and severity. 3. In grammar, a word which combines two or sometimes more different words. Often, the meaning of the compound cannot be discovered by knowing the meaning of the different words that form it. Compounds can be written either as one word or as separate words. Bodyguard and floppy disk are two examples of compounds. Compound. Adjective. One consisting of two or more parts. Many insects have compound eyes. Two used to refer to a system of paying interest, in which interest is paid both on the original amount of money invested or borrowed and on any interest, which that original amount has collected over a period of time, compound interest. The investment fund has achieved annual compound returns of 18.2%. Compound. Verb. To mix two things together. Most tires are made of rubber compounded with other chemicals and materials. Sense compound. Verb often passive. To make a problem or difficult situation worse, her terror was compounded by the feeling that she was being watched. His financial problems were compounded when he unexpectedly lost his job. Severe drought has compounded food shortages in the region. Sense compound area. Noun. An enclosed area which contains a group of buildings. The gates opened and the troops marched into their compound. The embassy compound has been closed to the public because of a bomb threat. Sense compound fracture. Noun. When a bone breaks or cracks and cuts through the surrounding flesh. Compare simple fracture. Sense compound. Noun. A type of leaf which is formed from a number of smaller leaves all joined to one stem. Annals. Historical record. Sense the annals of sports are replete with the names of great black athletes. Sense annals. Plural. Noun. Formal. Historical records of the activities of a country or organization, or history in general. The signing of the Treaty of Rome was the greatest event in the annals of European integration. Quite whether he will go down in the annals of American history be considered, as a great leader remains to be seen. Realm. Special field of something or someone. Kingdom. Since the cruel king would not allow the prince to enter his realm, restricting him to the forest, which abounded with wild animals. Sense realm area. Noun. An area of interest or activity. Her interests are in the realm of practical politics. Sense realm country. Noun. Formal. A country ruled by a king or queen. The defense of the realm. The matter was hotly debated in all the towns of the realm. Sense peer of the realm. Noun. A member of the House of Lords. The part of the British Parliament, which is not elected, who is not a life peer. A flash in the pan, promising at the start but then disappointing. Sense the rookie degrees. He hit many home runs in spring training, but once the season began he proved to be a flash in the pan. It's a man's world. How paradoxical that the world's greatest chefs have all been men. Cooking would clearly seem to be a field that lies exclusively within women's realm, yet the annals of cookery are replete with masculine names: Brillat Savarin, Ritz, Diet, Larousse. To compound the puzzle, there has rarely been a tinge of rumor or scandal casting doubts on the masculinity of these heroes of cuisine. Week 1 Day 4. Drudgery and pleasant, dull or hard work. Since she does her homework on Fridays, to save herself from the drudgery of having to do it during the weekend. Sense drudgery. Noun. Hard boring work, the drudgery of housework. Drudge. Noun. I feel like a real drudge. I've done nothing but clean all day. Interminable and ending. Sense I listened to the boring lecture, for what seemed an interminable 50 minutes. Interminable. Adjective. Continuing for too long and therefore boring or annoying, an interminable delay. We had to listen to another of his interminable stories of his days as a soldier. Interminably. Implore, to plead urgently for aid or mercy. Since the sick child's mother implores the doctor to come immediately. Sense implore. Verb. 1t plus 2 infinitive. To ask someone to do or not do something in a very sincere, emotional and determined way. She implored her parents not to send her away to school. 2t literary. To ask for something in this way, she clasped her hands, and glancing upward, seemed to implore divine assistance. Imploring. Adjective. He had an imploring look in his eyes. Imploringly. Adverb. Perceive, to understand, know, become aware of. Since the eminent scientist perceives difficulties in putting the invention into practice. Null. Sense perceive. Verb. To see something or someone, or to become aware of something that is obvious. Bill perceived a tiny figure in the distance. I perceived a note of unhappiness in her voice. Perceiving that he wasn't happy with the arrangements, I tried to book a different hotel. Sense perceive believe. Verb. To come to an opinion about something, or have a belief about something. How do the French perceive the British? Women's magazines are often perceived to be superficial. Badger to pester, nag degrees, annoy persistently. Sense the teacher continually badgers the pupil for the missing assignments. Sense badger. Verb. To persuade someone by telling them repeatedly to do something, or to question someone repeatedly. Stop badgering me, I'll do it when I'm ready. Plus into plus ing form of verb. She's been badgering me into doing some exercise. Plus to infinitive. Every time we go into a shop, the kids badger me to buy them sweets. To pour oil on troubled waters. To make peace, to calm someone down. Sense, when I tried to pour oil on troubled waters, both the angry husband and his wife stopped their quarrel, and began to attack me. How not to get your way. It is difficult to change someone's opinion by badgering him. The child, who begs his mother to get off his back, when she implores him for some assistance with the household drudgery, may very well plead interminably for some special privilege, when he wants something for himself. How paradoxical that neither is able to perceive that no one likes being nagged. Week 1 Day 5. Reggie the Con Man. In the annals of crime, there are few scoundrels who could match the exploits of Reggie Hayes, who also used the names of Reginald Haven, Ricardo Hermosa, Father Harris, and dozens of other aliases. Reggie's police record, principally in Chicago and Baltimore, is replete adjective, no ad with scams, that he perpetrated upon gullible people. Generally, his favorite target was a matron, who should have known better. Dressed as a priest, Father Harris, he was most convincing, however. His method of operation was to find a wallet stuffed with $100 bills outside a supermarket and then implore an unsuspecting woman to share his good fortune, since there was no identification in the wallet. But first, to establish her credibility, his victim had to put up a sum of money, as a testimonial to her good faith. Mrs. Emma Schultz, age 72, tearfully told the police that she had withdrawn $14,000 from her bank, and placed it in a shopping bag supplied by the helpful priest. He told her to hold onto the bag, while he went next door to a lawyer's office, to make the sharing of their good fortune legal. After a seemingly interminable wait, Mrs. Schultz discovered to her chagrin that the heartless thief had skipped out the back way, leaving her holding the bag, a switched exchanged bag containing shredded newspaper, while he made his getaway with her life savings. Null.